Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Kate and this is my guest, Leslie Fye, and we are in the 7 Days of Healing group this week, and our theme for this week is codependency, counterdependency, and narcissism. So mostly we're going to focus on codependency, counterdependency. And Leslie, I'm so glad she agreed. She's in our group this week, and she is a licensed professional counselor. So she has lots of great knowledge for us and wisdom. So she's going to be sharing her knowledge, background of what she knows. And we haven't really talked about this. But so maybe if people have questions, are you okay with doing questions, Leslie, for people? Sure. And I can answer them from an energy perspective, and Leslie can answer them from a, how would that be, more of a practical, day-to-day,
more traditional, therapeutic, psychological perspective.
Yeah, and Leslie's also emotion code, body code certified, so she has that background also, and she's looking to, or she is incorporating, or not, you're not incorporating, are you? Or you are?
I am.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so looking to incorporate traditional and non-traditional, maybe?
I do a little bit of non-traditional in with my traditional practice, and then I'm looking to set up something for folks that don't want traditional counseling, but they like the idea of having a mental health counselor with that kind of background.
Yeah. So Leslie, our sessions are amazing because we just got, both our skills combined, and it's just really powerful, and I love it. So that's why I wanted to invite Leslie on. So hopefully we can all benefit from her expertise. So, I don't know, I feel like, do you want to talk a little bit and just explain? I know I wanted to talk a little about what attachment styles were and how they affected us in how our relationships with our parents, how they affect our relationships now.
Right.
So I'm happy to share, Leslie. We're happy to hear. So
I think I could just talk about sort of the basics of what codependency is and what counterdependency is. Both of them really are, from my perspective, or from a traditional perspective, I think in the healing tradition, we would call them an aspect of ourselves, maybe even an aspect of our lower selves. In my background, I would just call it a way of coping, like a coping style. You develop a codependent part of yourself. And a codependent person is really someone who is very anxiously attached. They never felt secure and grounded in love. They may have issues around abandonment. They may have issues around powerlessness. And the way they learned to cope with that was by diving into their relationships with others. And if I, as a codependent, could fix you, the person, outside of me, if I could control and manage or be needed enough by you, then I, as the codependent, will feel grounded and secure. That's the intention of a codependent part, but of course it's never enough, right? It doesn't really heal the wounds that we have, and so it starts this cycle. Codependents are usually anxiously attached, which just basically means, mom or dad or whomever their caregiver was wasn't able to give them what they needed. On the other end of the spectrum, with counterdependency, counterdependents probably experienced, insecure attachments with their family of origin or caretakers
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
And they had issues with being powerless and shame and abandonment as well. But rather than anxiously attaching to others, like they made the unconscious decision to not trust anybody, right? So a codependent is like, I need the world to love me. A counterdependent is, I can't trust the world. All I can trust is me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the counterdependent learns how to be very independent, learns how to be they cope by being very skeptical of their attachments with others. Distant maybe is a better word. They stay in control by being slow to commit, and when I say they stay in control, they protect themselves from pain by being slow to commit and by sort of hypervigilantly looking for, when might I be let down? When might I be rejected? And let me do that first. Counterdependents have a harder time. They don't allow, they protect their vulnerability. So they don't bring a lot of their vulnerability to a relationship. And they are avoidantly attached, right? So they generally resist being, they're scared of intimacy, I guess is just the easiest way to say that. So is that a good enough big picture?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No,
yeah, so I have been that counter-dependent, right? So when you speak, it's just like you're describing me, right? So yeah, so I spent decades just running.
Yes.
Not letting anyone in, and just for fear of being hurt again, right? Yeah. But I see they're so similar as well. I think could you be both?
Well, that's what I was about to say. You can have an anxious avoidant personality. You can have a little bit of both, which is confusing in your relationship. But they're all difficult. What we want to be is securely attached. So what we want to do is heal our wounds around powerlessness and shame and abandonment or disconnection, so that we can feel secure within ourselves and then be open and vulnerable with others if you're the counter-dependent, or reciprocal and less controlling and less anxious if you're the codependent in your relationships with others.
Right. Yeah. So Rebecca just commented, I'm just going to read some of these, that she said she goes back, it feels like she's both, and depends who she's interacting with to how she is.
And I am both. Like my whole childhood was about being very codependent and trying to fix everybody, but I had a mother who was very avoidantly attached, and she would do hard cutoffs in her relationships. And so in my life, I would be very, 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 very codependent. And then after a certain point of hurt and rejection, it would be this hard cutoff, which was really confusing to people. Yeah. So, yes. So we can be both. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We can clear around that because I'm feeling that. Okay. So Kate is asking if it's more likely to develop energetic cords with others as a codependent. So I would imagine yes, not right?
That resonates for me, absolutely, because you're always, the codependent is kind of seeking a cord with somebody else so they can feel alive, and connected and grounded, because they don't feel grounded within themselves.
Right. Yeah. So Kate, I would say that you're probably creating those chords more than other people, right? It definitely feels like that. Yeah, so just from an energy perspective, and I know you guys have heard me say this a million times, but it's so true. Like, we want to be sourcing our own energy, right? We don't want to have to go outside of our own energy field to get our energetic needs met, our physical needs met from another person. So obviously that doesn't mean you can't go and have a good time with somebody, right? But you want to have allies and collaborators and just people that you work really well with, and there's no like shadow stuff. Otherwise it's, but like, you're like dancing in the shadow of your life, right? I just see it. Yeah, so that's generating a negative, you could call it a negative energy, that perpetuates this shadow aspect of who you are. So that's my that's my take on it. Okay, good. So let me just see if there are any other questions. Yeah, so I think Denise is asking about the narcissist component of that, and Carolyn is too. Carolyn asked, do narcissists attach more to codependence or counter? That's a good question. Do you have a...
Yes. Narcissists often, everything is on a continuum, right? So just because you might identify as a counter-dependent doesn't necessarily mean you're a narcissist. But narcissists are usually more on the extreme end of counter-dependency. And I guess you could be on the extreme end of codependency, but that would look more borderline for codependency, I would think, most of the time.
Right.
So what was the...
And, well, she's asking if a narcissist would gravitate more to a codependent.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Absolutely, because the narcissist knows they are needed, and they would get that. Like, the narcissist needs the supply and the feedback of being in control and being validated, but not having to give anything. And the narcissist is on that extreme end. Counter-dependents are scared to show their vulnerability. A narcissist is on the very extreme end of that. They don't allow themselves really to sit in their own vulnerability, and are so far removed from it that they have very little, if any, empathy for other people. A counter-dependent can have empathy, though. So I want to really emphasize we're talking about a continuum here. Okay. I don't want to build a narcissist hate club either. All of that comes from brokenness. It's just it's just another wound. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So can I ask you, what's your... Yeah, because we're just hearing all these Facebook groups about how narcissists, you can't change them, you can't heal them, there's no hope for them. So can I ask what your take is on that, either traditionally or non-traditionally in the work that we're doing? What do you...
Yes. I guess my overall take on that is people with a narcissistic personality disorder get a bad rap because they often don't come to therapy. They often don't seek help. And if they're good enough at getting the feedback that they need from other people and not creating a lot of consequences in their life, then it is difficult to change. But that I don't like the concept that narcissists can't change. And as a therapist, if I can work hard enough, if I can be clear enough myself and just work hard enough to keep a very unconditional relationship and not get drawn in and triggered by them. If you are willing to be patient with a narcissist and show them what an unconditional relationship is like without it being a relationship that feeds their ego. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just pure love.
Yeah.
It's just pure unconditional love and feedback. It's harder. It's harder as a therapist to help a narcissist, but it is possible. So I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah, absolutely. From where I'm coming from an energy healing standpoint, I think it's possible too, right?
Absolutely.
Especially to you, and they're saying, look, help me, right? That's something that you might not have many narcissists doing, but if they are willing, then you definitely can.
But if they walk in the door, like if they walk in the door, they're willing. And
yeah,
if you as the practitioner, whether it's in the healing field or the psychotherapy field, can take good enough care of your own stuff to not get triggered by them, then you can help them. The reason it's so hard to help a narcissist is because it's easy to get triggered by them. And our culture's not good at not doing that. The helping profession's not good at staying centered that way.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah. Okay. So Gemma has a question, and then maybe we can clear around what Gemma's asking. She said she has problems with letting go because she feels she loses her own reality. I think she's just saying that she gets enmeshed in other people's energy. Yeah, and she loses herself. Okay, that's how I'm interpreting that, Gemma. Hope that's right. You can clarify if it's not. Yeah, I mean, that's more with codependent, right?
Yes. I mean, so often, and I don't know if this speaks to, is it Emma or Gemma? Gemma. I don't know if this speaks to her or not, so I don't want to put it on her if it doesn't belong. But so often with codependents, they're like, if you think of the coping mechanism as one layer of your personality and the pain that underneath it as another layer. So often codependents are living in the connection of others so that they can avoid their own pain. So when they don't have that connection to others, they do feel very lost. And the journey to healing is helping them be able to go into their own pain and heal that, whether that's through emotion code, whether that's through doing release work with absorbed energies from other people or absorbed entities, any of the work that we do. So it makes perfect sense for a codependent that they feel really lost if they're not connected to another person.
Yeah, so that's almost like, and that's like the secondary symptom, right? It's being generated, it just doesn't end. And that's what I was saying about the shadow. It just kind of gets bigger and bigger, and that pain just gets deeper.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Are you okay doing it like this?
Yes, that's having fun. I was just thinking, this is awesome.
Okay. So if you're happy, then we're happy. So thank you. So Melissa is asking, is there a multi-dimensional fast track way to wake up a narcissist? Okay. She says I'm a magnet. Yeah, so she's saying that she magnetizes, she draws that personality.
Right.
Type. Is that what you're saying, Melissa? I think so. So let me ask about this as well. Okay. Okay. So this really is a multi-dimensional answer. Okay, so maybe there's a part of you, Melissa, somewhere else on another dimension or timeline that is actually that narcissist, and that's what I'm hearing. So as time is non-linear, we can be existing other places. And maybe there's on a parallel life, which I'm seeing, there is you with that personality type that wants to be healed, which is super easy to do that, and wants to be folded in, and closing the door on that and bringing that energy back in. So maybe while you're experiencing that in this life is all just an indication that something's not right somewhere else in the multiverse, in the universe. So that would be my my quantum answer to that. So how you do that, Melissa, is you just want to ask how many places. It might just be one. Is it more than one? Yeah, so let's just do that for everybody. Okay, so yeah, so anywhere, any parallel lives, any other timelines that we are or have that narcissistic personality, however that's represented. It might not even be in human form, so we're just going to take whatever comes up. So we're just asking those timelines to pull up for us right now. Okay, so if you can witness this in your mind's eye, I just see these, often see these timelines as just lines, literally like a black line. And you can ask everything that applies to you to come up now to be healed. Okay, and if you have any of this energy, narcissistic energy in this timeline that is yours, because I feel like we all do have a little bit. I want to say that. I know that for myself. Either we've absorbed or we share that, or whether it's inherited or genetic. We're asking all that to be pulled up right now. Okay, and anything we need to witness, I'm asking that to be shown either consciously or unconsciously for the people watching right now, for myself, for Leslie, and anyone watching on the replay. If they consciously need a sign, need to hear anything, need to see anything before we fold those in, we're asking that to clear, cleanse, clear, release. And we're asking those timelines to fold in, and for all that energy, this plasma energy, this light essence that we are, to come back to us now into this time, into this present timeline that we're on right now. And oftentimes I think, Melissa, when things keep happening like that, there's a repetitive pattern again and again, I really see it as something positive. I'm sure maybe Leslie, you could see that too, that it's something that wants to change in us, and that's why it keeps coming up. It's not something that wants to bash us over the head, right? It keeps coming up because it's an incongruency or an inconsistency in us that either physically, I mean, definitely physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically wants to come together so we can be the fullest and whole and complete as we possibly can.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I need to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just, yeah, so anywhere, let me just finish this, anywhere, because sometimes it's already projected into our future, even though we're experiencing that now. So we're asking to cut any cords, anywhere that's already projected into our future, past, present, future. Okay, so we're just letting go of all of that. So we are present in this now. And then Melissa or anyone, either now or after, you can just ask how complete that is for you. So just go down the rabbit hole with that one, especially if you're attracting a certain type of person. You can ask what the lesson in that is for you. Maybe that's you're represented somewhere else. Maybe there is an aspect of you in this timeline that is that. So, okay, good. Okay, did you want to share this?
Oh, no, I just was going to reiterate what you said.
Yeah, please.
So
Oh, no.
often, like the Course in Miracles, I think, talks about how our special relationships are like, the universe's homework assignment. And some homework
Yeah.
assignments are short-lived, some are long-term. Sometimes if we don't learn the lesson in one relationship, we'll keep pulling the lesson back in the next relationship and the next relationship until we learn it.
Yeah,
and
true and frustrating is that if we don't understand the dynamics, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're creating it over and over again. That same relationship, it's just the face looks different.
Yeah. And what I tell my clients is, sometimes we have lots of layers with the same lesson to learn. So not to beat yourself up when you keep pulling in someone, as long as you can kind of see improvement. I use an analogy of a house. Like your first apartment, is small and maybe not fancy, but as you live and grow in your abilities, hopefully you buy up each time. So, if we're buying up in our relationships, if there's a progression, then that's a good thing, because this isn't about perfection, it's just about progress.
Right. And I so relate to that, right? Because maybe that's why we came here. Maybe that's why we came in, is to take care of that on a spiritual level, right? And to see, and rather than a circle, see a spiral that's going up. So you're going to have those same experiences, but higher and higher levels, right? Until you no longer need it, and then you're just going straight up. Yeah, good. Okay, so everyone's saying thank you. Amazing. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? Oh, Melissa. Okay, so Carolyn, 5 timelines. Okay, Kate, what are you saying? Narcissist on the timelines. Okay. Okay, so she's replying to somebody else. Okay, so Karen says she's worried about hurting the other person by ending a relationship. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Any advice?
Well, that's a very codependent. I don't want to put a label on her, but that is a codependent response, because we attach and absorb. We attach ourselves to the emotions of others, and sometimes we project onto others our own pain. So, like, often with a codependent, you will find someone that very early on said, as a result of lots of hurt and abandonment and rejection themselves, on an unconscious level, they'll say to themselves, when I grow up, I'm never, ever, ever going to do this to anybody. So they live out this promise of being afraid to hurt somebody else's feelings. And sometimes they accurately feel the other person's feelings, or sometimes they project their own hurt in an inaccurate way onto other people. And so the best way to deal with that is just to deal with your own hurt, to cleanse, clear, and release around your own hurt, and then you will be able to let go in the relationship with more clearly, without that worry.
Right, so you don't have that lens of your own trauma and pain over you, and you can see actually, and I think that's really applicable, knowing Karen like I do. I think that's really applicable to you, Karen. So just working on your own trauma, so you're clear of what actually is going on, and you're not seeing through that lens of what was, like, I don't know, decades ago, right? Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. I like this. So powerful. Okay. So yeah, so this is a similar thing. Gemma says that she feels like she's abandoning the person when she doesn't want them when she doesn't want them in her life. So instead of, yeah, so it's similar, right?
Yes, very similar. Yeah. So if you clear around your own abandonment, um, then it will be easier to see how you can let go of someone but not necessarily abandon them. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of getting stuck actually in my mind for my own own thing. If you're an anxious avoidant personality, you know, where you do a hard cutoff, um, then that, but usually by the time a person does that hard cutoff, they're not enmeshed in that fear of abandoning somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're counter dependent, what from my perspective, it wouldn't even get to that. Right? Because to get that far, you'd have to be too vulnerable.
Right, and you'd have to feel too much into your own feelings or what the other person might be feeling. And that's too risky. That's too scary.
Right. Yeah, so she's also saying it feels like death to her.
Yeah.
That she's shut down. Okay, so let's work around
I was going to say,
this.
there's some trauma there. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Okay. So let me just let's just tune into you, Gemma, if that's okay. I'm presuming you're okay with me working on you. Can you just let me know? Because I don't want to intrude. Okay. And then we're just gonna. Susan says she has dreams when she was young around abandonment. Okay. And that seems to replay in her life. Replay out in your life now, Susan. Yeah, so dreams are interesting now. So I just see that as needing, it's not taken care of by you consciously during the day. So you have to get it out somehow, and that's how it's played out, right? Yeah, so she's saying yes. Let me go back to your question. Yeah, so okay, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you answered it beautifully. You know, I think dreams are our subconscious saying, gosh, there's some pain here that's unattended to. And sometimes our dreams take care of it for us, you know, on that other level. And so it's a beautiful gift. But when it's a recurring dream, it's to me, it's sort of akin to a PTSD flashback. You know, it's a part of you saying, yellow light, I need some help. Come help me fix this. And if the dream is around abandonment and it's recurring, then it's just an invitation to me from your subconscious saying, I have some hurt here that needs some help.
Yeah, so Susan, do you have a clear around that yourself? If that was me, let me just tune into you and ask. Okay, so I would actually, the first thing that comes to me is to ask if you go where you need to go when you fall asleep. Does your astral body go where it should be going? Does it go to the angelic realm, which is where your astral body should be going? So sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, for many reasons, it just doesn't get there. So that would be the first thing, and maybe that's contributing to those unpleasant dreams. Maybe that's just a sign or an indication. Yeah, so anything else I need to tell you? So that's a no. Okay, so yeah, Susan, and you can reach out to me after if you want to check in on that and just, so that's something for everyone to check. You want to make sure in dream state that your astral body is going where it needs to go. Sometimes it can be hijacked, or sometimes it's just suspended, and sometimes it doesn't get where it's intended, right? Because our dream state and our waking state are really the same. Which is interesting, right? So you could have, I've had times where I've had a dream and I've literally lived it out in my waking state.
Yeah.
The same thing has happened, right? So like a beautiful synchronicity, beautiful lineup there. Okay, Gemma said that I can tune to you. Sorry. And I've forgotten. Oh, the death. Okay, so let me just tune to you, Gemma. Yeah, okay. So what I actually see, I see you, it's like death of yourself, right, that you're experiencing. I do actually see you in a coffin. Okay, so so let's clear around this. I've actually had that myself, especially around relationships, where you just stay in a relationship and it becomes a death. You just put yourself in that coffin and you're digging deeper and deeper. And go ahead.
Can I add, but like just for an analogy, you know, especially if there is abandonment early on in childhood. I mean, for a child, when they're still in that cognitive phase of development where they're very egocentric, where they don't feel, you know, I'm not separate from my caregiver and my caregiver's not separate from me. If they are abandoned, abandonment feels like a death to us cognitively up to a certain point. So it is very much like death, like energetically and emotionally. That is how it's experienced.
Okay, so let's clear from that. Let's clear that for Gemma and also for anyone else who's experiencing that. So obviously there's a lot in this energetically, so we don't necessarily need to know every little minutia thing that's there. So I'm just going to ask how we can clear this, begin to clear this. Yeah, so we can clear this as a field of energy, like what I would call a trauma energy field. So that it has all the different components of all the trapped emotions, all the abandonment, everything that went along with that. And I'm guessing for you, Gemma, that's from around age 5. Okay, so I'm gonna clear that for you. So we're just asking this trauma energy field, and I'm being told there's more than one from that age. Yeah, so there's like 5 or 6, and we just ask if we can clear those all at once, and that's safe to do that. That's definitely something to ask, especially with a sensitive subject matter. Okay, so we're asking this to dissolve this mantle, and I can actually just see the energy of that breaking up for her. And so we're going to couple the benefits. You can ask, if you know you need this, to couple the benefits of what I'm doing for yourself. You can specify an age for yourself. You could do multiple ages. Okay, so I'm just watching that clear and go through. And sometimes this can take a while, which is going to be the case. So it's going to take like 20 minutes for that to go through. So let's see what else. Okay, so Janet's asking if we can clear that for everybody, and that's a yes, we just did that. Karen's saying that, okay, so everyone's feeling, not everyone, people are feeling like it's a death. Yeah, okay, so have I experienced that? Yeah, so I guess I have experienced that, but now I would see, you could see death as an opportunity, right? It's when something ends, like death, then something new can be born. So maybe allowing the old to die, we can be with the new and be more in the present moment and have things flourish for us. And we're definitely afraid of change, right? We don't like change. We like things to stay the same, but unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. It's so true, right?
Yes.
It doesn't. And that's, you can even clear around that. That's like to be in the flow with what is, what is so blatantly obvious, even to us, that we still dig our heels in and don't resist change. And my experience of that is if we don't, then the universe does things to us. Like I got cancer, I know 100% because I refused to change. I was petrified, right, of change and couldn't see a way forward, had these like blinkers on and even though to the average person, they were like, I don't get it, Kate, what's going on? Because of my past trauma that I had to take care of, right, that I just couldn't see a way forward. So I believe that's definitely one reason why I got thyroid cancer, because I couldn't speak up, I couldn't speak my truth. Okay, so let's clear that for everybody. So fear is huge. So I recommend that you get a score from 0 to 10 of fear, clear fear. So we're just asking that anywhere and everywhere that we believe it's not safe to move forward, to live in the moment, to let go of what no longer serves us. So this can be unresolved trauma. So I'm just going to say what comes. So where we're not good enough, where we feel we're not good enough, or we don't deserve to have, it's not a better life, to have a better relationship with ourselves, that we don't deserve that we deserve to suffer. I'm hearing, seeing. So we're asking that to dissolve, dismantle, and anything that's keeping that in place. Whether that's, that could be inherited emotions, generational, that keep our families in the same place, cycling in these same situations, these same emotional traumas. So we're asking that any veils that have been placed or that we have placed, because we do this when we don't want to see something, we physically turn away from it, and then that places an energetic veil over our physical eyes, over our third eye. So we're asking those to come off, to dissolve, dismantle, so that we can see more clearly the truth of who we are. And the way forward, our divine blueprint of why we came here, because we all came here for a reason, right? Especially at this time in history, such a huge, momentous time. Okay, that's just going to run for us. Do I need to say anything else? Do anything? No. Okay, good.
All tingles.
Yeah, awesome. So that's definitely it. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, so truth. Okay, so let's go into this one. So Karen is also saying that when you have a partner, she said that her partner, he's planned out his own suicide if she leaves. Okay, so that just puts a whole another layer on that, right? And I just see that as more reason to go into yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, can you say a little about that professionally, and then I'll...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess my first thought is her partner is using that using, I don't want to use that harsh word, but
Yeah. Oh, it's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is so anxiously attached to her, like they might be both codependent, that he is needing, you know, to say, I so badly need you that I can't live without you.
Right.
And so um, certainly, I, I don't know, you as the energy healer probably need to jump in on this, but I
Yeah.
imagine there's cords going both ways with these two, with these two,
Yeah.
and encouraging
That,
him to
I
work
mean,
on.
best health for him, right? We
Yeah,
don't want that to happen. But there's a part of that that's blackmail, right? That's emotional blackmail.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
he's using it as a way of keeping her in his life. It's a means of control. Like he may not he may not be negatively intending to control her. It's self-protection.
Absolutely. And I'm sure.
Um,
Right. So yeah, just so even more of a need, Karen, to go and find yourself. Like, who are you with him? Who are you without him? Why are you here? You know, what's your purpose in life? What do you want in life? Like, get really clear. Just go right down. Like, what do you want for your life,
yeah,
right? For the next years. And I know that if you're happy with that, then that's great, right? But I know Karen's not, and she wants to make change. So it's like sifting through all of them, right? Who am I with him? Who am I without him? Yeah, and then clearing. Is there anything? Yeah, and then clearing around that that doesn't allow you to compassionately act,
yes.
or it's hard to help him, right? I
It
mean, I
is,
wouldn't
it
even.
is. Sometimes when I have clients that are with someone that's emotionally blackmailing them like that, like I ask them to sit and visualize what that kind of controlling energy is doing to them, how much that's draining from them. Like if that if if they could see that little vulnerable part of them that is being held hostage by the other person, what would that look like? What would that little person look like? And having some compassion for the part of them that's being manipulated, you know, trying to help them unblend from the fear of what they will do to the other person if they break up with them, and instead tune into and have compassion for the part of them that's being manipulated and used, and how much
And
life is getting sucked out, you
yeah.
know.
Okay, let's just look at that.
Yeah,
Anything around, I can't reveal that, but we don't need to. But anything around the dynamic that Leslie has just explained. For Karen, for anyone who's watching, anyone that will watch in the replay, we're asking this to at least begin to the soul dismantle, and for the person, for everyone to have more awareness of the dynamics that are playing out and where they have a hand in this, right? Because there's balance, right? So I feel like, Karen, there is some, you know, because he couldn't do that with me, right? Because there's no balance. So there's somewhere in you, Karen, that is a match to him doing that, right? So that's what needs to be healed within you. Because if you didn't have that, he couldn't say that. He would be, right. He just wouldn't. There's no energetic match. There's no physical match. So yeah, maybe something in yourself about giving up on you, right? That's what comes to mind. Where have you given up on yourself? And now you're seeing that mirrored in another man, in another human that wants to give up on their selves, right? Okay, and maybe there's some past life things that need to be cleared with you guys. Okay, so everything and anything that is, and anywhere that I can initiate clearing for anyone, Right now, I'm asking that that happens. And we're asking for more clarity within self, more honesty, more openness to see the truth. Okay. Good. Is it? Just gonna see the time. Okay, let me just tune in here. We're done. Okay. I'm hearing we're done. As far as clearing, I'm hearing everyone's. Okay. Yeah, so Gemma's saying death is past life. Right. So you can do like we did the clearing in the beginning. You can pull up any past lives that you have with anyone and just ask those to clear, and then always hold them in and bring your light essence back into this now timeline. Okay. Leslie, thank you so much. Do you have any final words? I feel, yeah.
Other than this was just amazing to be a part of.
Wow.
I always have to listen to the replays, but and they're amazing as well. But thank you for letting me be here, and this was.
Yeah. Oh, please come back. This was just fabulous. I'm sure everyone would love to have you come back, and it stimulates me. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Beyond words.
Oh,
thank you, and so much grace and love for everyone.
Yes.
I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.